If you're in the market for a new road bike, you have undoubtedly noticed the eye and wallet gouging prices of the big box brands. Even direct-to-consumer Canyon has joined the sticker shock party. It has become super common to see bikes going for over $15,000. And I'm sorry, but that's just crazy. And after my recent series of unfortunate events, I found myself in the market for a new road bike and really didn't want to pay those prices. Enter Lauf. You may be familiar with their True Grit carbon leaf spring suspension fork, popular on some gravel bikes. But the Icelandic company have taken some of that engineering prowess that they use to put together their Segler gravel bike and incorporated that into this, the Lauf Uthald road bike. I bought this thing a little over 2 months ago and have since put about 2,000 miles on it. And I've got to say, they do a lot of things right and one really weird thing wrong. So stick around and let's talk about it. On their website, Lauf say that they don't want to build bikes that look and feel fast, they want to build bikes that are fast. And they say that a lot of the things that make bikes feel fast, like rigidity in the frame and twitchy handling, don't actually make them fast. To that end, they built a road bike that incorporates 15 mils of compliance and a slacked out front end. And to counterbalance that and add better handling, they have very, very short chainstays. I haven't done any real testing to verify the speed claims on this bike, but what I can tell you is that it is for sure the most comfortable road bike I've ever ridden. The geometry on this bike is way different than what I'm used to, with a significantly higher stack and shorter reach, putting it squarely in the realm of endurance road bike geometry, which is not at all what I'm used to riding. So rather than going with any of their stock builds, I decided to buy a frame set and build it up myself, and I'm really glad I did. Although it was not without temper tantrums and meltdowns as I was trying to learn how to do a bunch of things that I've never done before. Anyway, the frame build made sense for me for a bunch of reasons. One, I wanted a fit that was close to the bikes that I'm used to riding. And two, I had a bunch of parts laying around from shattered bike frames that were still perfectly good and usable. Whoa! Well, that was unpleasant. It probably wasn't really close, but last time a deer ran out in front of me, it didn't. It ran directly into me and broke my neck. So, if I'm overreacting, where were we? Right, the bike. It took me longer than I care to admit to even attempt to start building this thing. And then even when I did, every time I'd hit a snag, I'd give up in frustration and the bike would sit around for a few days until I could gather the resolve to start again. But I'm really glad I did, because now I'm a lot more confident in all things bike mechanic. I'm definitely not the world's best. I am barely competent, but I am at least fairly competent, which is better than I was before I started this endeavor. So in addition to the geometry changes that they've made over your standard road bike, they've also incorporated the ability to run up to 35 mil tires, which they claim is for speed. The argument there is that the wider tires allow you to run lower pressures, and the lower pressures allow you to have a contact patch that deforms in the correct direction and is in contact with the ground more of the time, leading to an overall faster ride. Again, I can't make any arguments about objective speed data. All I can do is reiterate exactly how comfortable this bike is. So who is this bike for anyway? Well, I'd argue just about anybody. I've used it mostly as a commuter bike, but that's because mostly I'm a commuter. But I've used it for interval sessions outside and just general joyrides. I plan to use it for gravel races that are on some easier terrain, as well as some of the local road races that have maybe suboptimal tarmac. If you're looking for your next four-corner crit machine, maybe this isn't the bike for you, but then I don't know about that either. Like I said, it certainly doesn't feel fast in the traditional ways that you might think a bike would feel fast, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not fast. Like I said, I don't have anything other than anecdotal data, but but Lauf claim that it's, quote, arrow where it matters. And on my 30-mile commutes, I regularly average 20 miles an hour. So maybe there's something to those claims. A whole lot of caveats there though. It's a really flat commute, almost no climbing, and at this time of year, I often have a tailwind in both directions. So maybe it's the wind and not the bike. But frankly, I've got a long way to go before the bike is going to be the thing that decides whether or not I win or lose a race. So I don't really care. All I really know is that it's a fun bike and it makes me want to ride. It occurred to me that while I was talking this morning about how comfortable and compliant this thing is and how I want to race it on gravel, that I've never actually taken it on gravel until right now. So we're experiencing this together. Caveat, this is not chunky gravel. This is basically a dirt road, and I'm on a very groomed line. And for further context, I've ridden this on 25s, so it's really nothing to write home about in the gravel world, but it's what I have access to on my commute. First impressions, this thing is more than capable to do what I'm doing now, but like I said, so are 25s. I'm rolling on Specialized Mondo gravel tires, 32 in the front, 35 in the rear. Why mismatched? That's a long story. I don't want to talk about it. But the point is that it's really pretty comfortable. Between the frame and the tires, it's doing really a good job of taking out a bunch of that little vibration that you would otherwise get from this little gravel. Oh, and I'm doing about 22 miles an hour right now. But what else do you want to know about this thing? Drop me a comment down below and I will try to get to it in a follow-up video. On your left. If you're finding this useful, engaging, funny, or otherwise something you might want to see more of in the future, a like and subscribe will go a long way toward helping out the channel and would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, thanks for joining me on my commute. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one.